Thanks for being here too. I want to, thank our crowd. They were awesome today. They were a big help getting down 18. Iowa, best offensive team in the league, and they looked that part. They were ranked a few weeks ago. They look every bit a ranked team tonight against us. We've done a really good job of defending three-point land, and we didn't tonight. That hurt us. But Coach McCaffrey does a great job, and they got a lot of weapons. And you have to play better when you're playing a team that last 20 minutes of the Indiana game and today, that's as good as 60 minutes as anyone's played in this league. So give them a tip of the hat coming in this tough environment, and Coach McCaffrey does a great job. And they got the win. We got to have short memories here. We got a game in. So this was our third game in 5 days. We got another game coming right up against a really good Northwestern team. So we got to flip the page and get ready for them.
Steve, the way Iowa opened the game, how much of that was their shot making and precision, and how much of that was you guys slow out of the gate defensively?
Yeah, I think both, and we missed layups too to start the game. So we missed a lot of layups, timely baskets, but they got off to a good start. They're a really good passing team. There's not one guy on their roster that has a negative assist to turnover ratio, so every guy can pass. They got the ball moving around, and they got a lot of guys, and Samford, who had been struggling up until their Indiana game, really made some huge shots, timely shots, and I thought some tough shots down the stretch. But yeah, you can't get off to that kind of start, especially against a team that scores the way they do.
How much do 3 games in 6 days affect? Is it a fatigue factor, mental fatigue?
Well, I think a little bit of everything, but it's a tough stretch. 5 days and three tough games, and it was a good week for us up until today. But again, they were good. They were really good, and we have to play a lot better than we played today to beat an Iowa team that's playing at that level.
You mentioned the layups. How much of that was you guys versus their defense and their zone? How did that impact you guys?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, we got layups, so you gotta finish them. Obviously, they got some big players. I mean, their center is having a really good year, and he'll challenge some things at the rim. But I did think we had some very makeable shots too around the basket, and we just needed to cash in on some of those and some timely threes. But they were up 18 in the second half. We cut it to 6. We play hard. It was a good basketball game. If you weren't coaching it, you would probably enjoy really quality teams. But they got the best of us today. Our defense wasn't where it needed to be, and our defense been great all year long. I don't think there's been one game that I didn't like our defense, but we did some uncharacteristic things today, that we got to make sure we straighten up. But when you're down 18, you do those kind of things too. So.
Falling behind by as much as 18 early in the second half, what's kind of your message to your team after falling behind like that?
Yeah, I mean, I even told these guys at halftime when we were down, we're not, we got to play like Rutgers basketball, and we kind of plugged away, in the second half and kind of chipped away at, But again, when it got close, we got it to 6. They made some really timely plays. Your defense has to be outstanding when you're down 18. So you got no margin for error, and they're too good of a basketball team to do that too.
Steve, Derek came in the first half, really spelled Paul and gave you guys a big lift in transition. What did you see from him today that was encouraging?
Yeah, I mean, he does that, and he needs to continue doing that for us. He can change speeds, and he's fearless getting to the rim and getting his shots up. And I thought he had a couple timely possessions too that I'd like to have back. Driving baseline and turn the ball over and doing some different things, but. These are all learning experience for him. That team is very different, Iowa, than any team in our league, the way they play and the way they pass the ball. So, he'll continue to learn from that. He'll devour some film, and, but Derek's a good player. He just needs some more experience.
Steve McCain's role as somebody who continues to knock down important three-pointers at an important time for you guys, more and more apparent each game. Do you wish that other players that you can put on the floor would be able to also threaten at the arc in the same kind of manner?
I mean, today, yeah. I mean, we didn't shoot the ball the way we have, but, I trust all my guys when they get good threes, they're going to make them. Some days they don't go in, and I say that to guys all the time. It's impossible to play in this league, and shots are going to go in every time. It's just so you got to get through those tough days too when they're not going. You got to rebound better. I got out rebounded. That's another thing. But I really thought more finish around the rim, finish some of those plays in the lane. That would have really helped us a great deal. But again, they made threes too, and we've been defending the three as well as any team, maybe number one in the country. And they made threes, and they haven't been shooting the ball like that. So today was a great day for them. Hopefully, we'll have a great day coming up from three-point land too.
Steve, Fran McCaffrey opened his press conference by explaining to us that your team signed a card, well wishes for Patrick. It seemed to really profoundly touch him, and I wanted to ask you twofold. One is what prompted you to do that, and secondly, can you just expand on the importance of recognizing mental health for student athletes?
Well, first of all, Coach McCaffrey and his family, those kids play so hard, I need 4 more kids like that in my family. College basketball's tough. It is what these kids go through, and if you heard some of the messages that kids get, it's just, he's a great kid. He's a great student. He's a great basketball player. The things that they have to deal with mentally are just real tough, and I have a ton of sympathy. I'm so out of social media that this stuff, I don't spend any time on it, but I knew what life was like without the phone in my hand. They don't. Mental health's so important. These kids come out every day. This guy will be in the gym. These guys were in the gym this morning at 7:30 getting shots up. We watched film the other night till whatever time. Just root for these kids. That's what I do, and for what the McCaffreys are going through, and I just want him, to be better and to have fun playing basketball, and and I want that for all the players. It's a special time of your life, and if you're not bogged down with the mental stress of all that stuff I told you before, I had, my mom always saying, great game, no matter what, and I had to listen to Coach Calhoun. I didn't know what everyone else was saying, and I didn't let any of that, and what these guys have to deal with. I think Trace Jackson, Davis put out some, and if you ever saw some of the things I read that these guys share with me, it's just, it's tough, and I feel for them mentally as they're enjoying college and learning how to be an adult and making great decisions and trying to figure out what you're going to major in and try all those different things, and then you got the weight of the world sometimes on you too. So, I just hope he gets better, and it was just something little. It wasn't even, but I really root for kids in this league, root for kids that are playing college athletics. Want that for my son to enjoy, college and not worry about, you can't play every game great, and you're going to have some tough days, and you just move on from it. So. Yeah, just rooting for him, really, just rooting for him. Want him to get back and healthy and feel good about, what he's done, because he's a special young man playing basketball in this league.
Steve, just to follow up on that topic, it's become such a discussed topic in professional sports and collegiate sports. What do you and your assistant coaches do and say to your players throughout the course of a season to help with mental health or guide them in any way?
Yeah, we have, you can bring in everybody to speak to them. I try to get them. I think Cam does it the best. He doesn't have any social media, so he's blessed. I try to get him to stay off. I try to tell him to put it down. We had Anthony Ashenault come in and speak to us about the year he won the national championship, and he spent 4 years of listening, and his mood was going up and down with the social media. And then the year he honed in on what was important to him was winning wrestling matches and taking care of his body and getting the sleep he needs at night. He said it was his breakthrough year, so try to get different people, to talk. But I also will tell you, they never lived without the phone. So I know what life was like without it. I know what it's with, and there's some great things about it, but there's some tough things too. And these kids, have to deal with a lot of stuff that I don't have any experience in that area, so it's a hard thing too. You got to bring people in that do, and people in that, can handle those kind of things, and we do that a lot. And we have some terrific sports medicine people here too, psychologists, sports psychologists, that do a great job for us. So we're blessed. Pat does an unbelievable job with the whole athletic department with those resources, but you still got to use them, and you still got to try to avoid some of the pitfalls of it.